This guy has earned 900 ranks in less than a month by spamming new Tinker. So let's dive in what makes this player so special on Tinker. This Tinker doesn't go for the fast bottle build. Instead he goes for triple circlet, branch and a fairy fire. So with these items Tinker has 66 damage and 5 base armor at level 1, which is really a lot for the level 1 hero. And his enormously big health and mana pool compensate for the late bottle. So if you think about it, there's not a big need for the bottle. It's much more optimal to spend all of your gold for the stat items. So you will be able not only to deny creeps a lot better, but also trade much more efficiently, especially considering the fact that he always skills rockets at level 1. And rockets is a crazy ability. They deal 125 damage for 80 mana and 18 seconds cooldown. This is one of the most efficient trading skills in the game. And look how much he outtrades Lina. Also, the important part is to always try to laser both the enemy and the range creep. Keep in mind that blind doesn't work on the bounced targets, that's why he used it on Lina, not the range creep. When your opponent leaves the lane, don't push your creep wave under the enemy tower. It's important to keep the creep wave on the high ground and focus on the denies, so the enemy will get as little of the creep wave as possible. He is able to farm the big ancient camp by using smokes of deceit, so the ancient camp does not attack him. Ancient stacks are very beneficial for Tinker, so he can get blink dagger and second level of rearm a lot faster. Apart from maybe Sven, it's really better if Tinker farms the ancient stack rather than the carry, because it accelerates Tinker to level 12 so much faster, so he can start spacing for his carry earlier. Both of the course wins in the end. Carry will get the space and Tinker will get the quicker blink on level 12 timings. The same logic can be also applied for the first Tome of Knowledge. And the difference between level 1 and level 2 rearm is like a day and night. It decreases the cast time for a whooping 1.5 seconds. And that secures him with a 9-minute blink dagger. With the removal of the marches, Tinker farms a lot slower nowadays. But on the other hand, with the new skill build, you can connect very early with the team to dictate the pace of the game. Last patch Tinker could have ignored the early fights to farm for his timings, but the new Tinker should not. He has bought Shiva as a first major item in all of his games, which is reasonable, because the new Tinker desperately needs a farming item. And Shiva is arguably the best option, as it also gives you mana, slow and a lot of armor, but also not the least importantly, vision. You should also take note that you can cast Shiva while rearming, so you can double Shivas. This is a core trick of playing Tinker with a Shiva's guard. So he clears the creep wave with the usage of double Shivas plus laser on the melee creeps. And here's the example of what Tinker is able to do with Shivas in the teamfight. Before playing Tinker, you should take note that after the removal of the marches, it's very important to keep your tempo up, as you cannot come back as you did in the previous patches. Just look at this, Ori from Vici Gaming has lost 6 out of his last 7 Tinker games. Not to say that Ori is a bad player, but it shows how much the playstyle has changed, and you should now emphasize more on the cooperation with the team, and itemize to improve your farming speed. To say short, Tinker has become stronger for leading the game, but became worse at holding and comebacking the game. He prioritizes leveling up Matrix over the talents up to level 14. You rarely need that much of mana when your level is low. When on the other hand, Matrix is a very underrated ability. Not only it gives you a shit ton of status resistance, but it also gives you a shield that can absorb some of the damage that can potentially break your Blink Dagger. It can be especially nice against heroes like Batrider or Darkseer, like when you use a teleport on the creep wave and there's an Iron Shell that can potentially break your Blink. In that case, Matrix can give you some time to blink by absorbing the Iron Shell's damage. Usually after you buy Shivas, you start to have problems with mana, so Bloodstone is the best fix for that problem. He goes for the Bloodstone after the Shiva in all of his games. Bloodstone is good all-rounded follow-up item. Not only it gives you the best amount of mana per gold, but it also increases your overall tankiness that synergizes well with Shivas and Matrix, as well as it also gives you spell amplifications that synergizes with your level 20 talent. You might wonder, but what about Hex or BKB? As I told earlier, the new Tinker desperately needs to keep his tempo up, and by buying BKB or Hex too early, you highly risk to drastically fall down in terms of farm. You can't just roll down the keyboard with marches like in the previous patches. The new Tinker definitely needs more skill and understanding of the game, but in the good hands, this hero can really shine.